Yo, what's going on, everybody? Sorry I'm a little bit late, but it's all good. We'll get started here very soon, very quickly. How's everybody doing today? How is everybody doing? Let's check it out. All right, thanks everybody for waiting. I appreciate it. I'm gonna jump right into this. So we got an elephant today. I'll show you the reference photo real quick. I thought it was pretty cool. The lighting's really nice. So I think I already decided how I'm gonna approach this thing. So the white that I'm gonna use, the white ink, is gonna be on the tusk only. And the tone of the paper is gonna be the elephant in light. And then I'm just gonna black pin the shadows of the elephant. And then maybe some light white grasses and some dark grasses. So it should be cool. I think it's gonna look good. So before I start, actually, I want to tell you guys, tomorrow, I meant to do this the last few days and I kept forgetting. Tomorrow, I believe, having a critique. So you can send one piece of art, whether it's drawing, painting, drawing with crayon, whatever it is, send it to my email, info@SchaeferFineArt. And so yeah, be sure to send it. And I do critiques every 10 live streams. So every live stream ending in 0, I'll do a critique. So yeah, be sure to send in your art. So Kevin, check out the link in the chat there. That's the from my sister Amanda. She put a little link there to the paper that I use. It's I don't know about your budget, but if you're in the US, you can go on Amazon. I use a Strathmore Tone Tan, 50 sheets, 9 by 12, and it's like, I don't know, $10 or something for this, maybe $12, something like that. Is that you? Freezy asks, if we miss the live stream, can we view later? Yes, you can. I always put all the live streams up, so you can definitely view them later. So anyway, let's get into the drawing here really quickly. Let's try to block in this elephant. Shouldn't be too difficult. Let's see how quickly I can block this thing in. I'm not trying to be too quick, but it's good to just try to capture. I think I made it too low. Yep. Let's start over. It's all good. No worries, no worries. Start up here. I want the bottom of it to be here. So now determine the height first. So now I can kind of proportionally figure out the rest. Basically the width of this thing. So it looks like the trunk goes right down the center. And its body comes out from there. It looks like it sticks out a little bit further on one side here. So just trying to be quick but accurate. As accurate as I can be. But this one should be pretty straightforward as far as inking and drawing. Hopefully shouldn't be too challenging, I'm hoping. Starting to look like an elephant, I think. We just need the structure of the how's everybody doing? Where on our website do we put our drawings? I'm not sure what you mean. JSA drawing. So you send them to an email, info@SchaeferFineArt.com. So just send them in an email to me. So that's where you can send your art for a critique tomorrow. Every live stream ending in 0 is a critique. So you're not putting them up on a website anywhere, you're just emailing them to me. It's very simple, very simple. So I apologize if I miss any questions. I'm just trying to get through the drawing first a little bit, and I'll check the chat soon. So I think we're doing this, turned out pretty well so far. Got a nice little elephant here. This is his eyes. I just realized an elephant, the way this elephant, at least the way it looks right now, at least the reference photo over here, the way the elephant's head looks, it's very similar to like a squid. I know that sounds very bizarre, but I just realized like the way the eyes are on the side of the head and just the way the ears look, it just reminds me of like a squid. It's so cool how like most of nature is all connected in a way. You know, you can see all these weird similarities. You know, from animals that aren't even really similar at all, you can kind of, sometimes you can, depending on like the viewpoint you're looking at or some kind of just a different perspective, you can see like similarities with other animals. Like sometimes I think cats, if you look at cats from the bottom, like their chin, and you see the way their jaw is shaped and stuff, reminds me of a shark. You know, and they have sharp teeth and stuff. Like, it's very interesting. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just weird, but cats are like, you know, kangaroo sharks or something to me. So doing pretty well with this. Just this line going down the middle, this is a separation of light versus shadow. So this is all shadow. And I'm actually not gonna, I think I'm not gonna do it as dark as the actual photo. So I'm kind of gonna change it up a little bit. Just so that I can get through this thing in a decent amount of time. What's going on, Donnie? Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it. Quick question, which eraser do you think is the best? I like using these kneaded erasers, K-N-E-A-D-E-D, K-N-E-A-D-E-D, kneaded erasers. These are pretty good. Gum erasers are pretty good. You know, any eraser can be pretty good. I like the click erasers that you can get. You know, I'm not sure what they actually call them, but that's what I always called them as a kid. You know, any eraser is all you're trying to do is erase a line. You know, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to get too complicated about it. You know. It doesn't have to be the best. As long as it does what it's supposed to do, then it's good. It works. If it erases what you're trying to erase, then that is a good eraser in my opinion. It's very easy to get caught up in like, what's the best materials? What should I use? What should I do this? It's like, You know, just pick something and start, you know. Pick something and go for it. I'm just speaking in general now, of course. Not everybody gets caught up in materials like that, but some people do. Some people do. They get caught up in the materials, and then they sit there and waste months and months trying to get research, get all the best stuff, and they never even start practicing. They never even start practicing the thing that they're interested in. They're worried about materials and this thing and that thing. And this guy says this guy says to get this stuff. You know, it's like, just get something and do it. Just start, you know. Stop wasting time. Let's see, we are 10 minutes in. We're doing pretty well for 10 minutes. The bottom here is going to be grasses and stuff, which is good for me because I don't really have to worry about the bottom as much. Looks a little funny how skinny he is at the bottom, but it's kind of how it is. It's kind of... looks like it bulges out a little bit here for a foot. I think this needs to come out more, possibly. See what that looks like. Have you ever tried water brush? I like them. I have like once or twice, you know, but not really my thing, I guess. I like the good old-fashioned brushes and stuff. Maybe I should try using them again. It's been quite a few years since I've tried. I think I still have one somewhere. You know, that might be something to try one day. The problem is it's just too small. I would have to do a very small sketch with it. You know, I'd have to do like a very small watercolor painting for it to really make sense to use it. Because I like using big brushes, so I'd have to have a small, really small painting for it to make sense with what I want to do. How do you get your sketch in the middle of the paper every time? Just practice. I do this a lot, you know, and it's kind of become a thing that I try to do. It doesn't always happen, but yeah, let's see if I have some other animals. I mean, I filled up a lot of sketchbooks and stuff, so I just try to, I determined the middle, where the middle of the elephant was. I put it in the middle of the paper, like his trunk was more the middle, and then I just branched out from the middle. So that's how I did it. I know it might have been like a rhetorical question, but just a little simple measuring, you know, simple proportions. Okay. I think everything looking good, I think. As far as... hopefully I can put some of these cool little textural lines and stuff on here when I do the inking. I think that'll really help it. It'll be nice. But I'm not going to do too much texture, just mostly right on its face, because that's really my focal point, and it'll give it a bit more form across the center of the face as these wrinkles and stuff wrap around the head. Kind of show this form. This is all dark. These tusks are really going to pop once I add that white ink. I just gotta make sure I got them nicely. I think this one should come out maybe a little bit more. This side doesn't really matter. It's gonna be all shrouded in mystery. These shadows. Yeah, this is gonna look pretty cool, I think, I hope. I mean, it's a very simple sketch, you know, it's small. Just a little elephant here with all these grasses and stuff. I did another elephant before. I don't think I did a background with it though. I'm trying to figure out if I should do a background or not. Let me see. I can find this other elephant real quick. I don't believe I did. Let's see. Come on, where's this elephant? Okay, here's a cow I did that looks pretty cool. No background. I'm just kind of getting some inspiration from my old artwork here, trying to find... There we go. So I think that's kind of what I'm gonna go for, something like this. It's kind of the look I'm going for. So the light areas, tone of the paper, you know, some dark type of shadows, a little bit of textural lines, and then light grass with a little bit of shadow. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for with this one. This one's a lot bigger, actually. I really like this one. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do any better than that one. This one's a different. I mean, it's obviously a different kind of drawing. You know, it's a different elephant, different time. Different perspective, I guess, is what the word I'm looking for. But hopefully we can, hopefully we can. But anyway, I think I'm good with this. I think I can go into the ink now. So I realized one of my white pens here is completely almost out of ink. If you guys can see that, there's this little, because this other one looks a bit fuller. So now I'm kind of understanding when these pens are about to run out of ink. So that's good to take note of. So I probably need to buy some more soon. I wish I could do that with the black pens, but I'll just lighten this one up slightly. Just lighten this up. Man, I hope we get some more viewers in here tonight, but don't know if it's gonna happen. There's a big event going on in the US that I don't want to mention or talk about, but that might be why we have some lack of viewers tonight. But we'll see. The night is still young. We're only 18 minutes in, so let's see, let's would y'all mind if I ask a question? I need help with something. Well, ask away. Unless you want to ask the chat and not me, but ask whoever's there. Somebody will answer, maybe. Yeah, of course. All I know is we're doing some art tonight. That's what's happening. Okay. Yeah, I hope I can make this elephant drawing good, like that other one. Oh well, even if it's not as good, you know, it's still it's just another drawing under my belt, another experience of, you know, drawing for an hour. Just kicking back, relaxing, getting a drawing in, hanging out with you guys here. Let's see. Glad to hear that, Dawn. She says, I used that roll the eraser over the drawing trick on my last drawing. Worked great. Hadn't thought of that before. Yeah, it's great. This kneaded eraser, you can roll it up like this and then just lighten up your drawing anywhere you need to. It's a really great idea if your drawing starts getting too out of control, like if you're going over lines so much, you know, too much, you can just kind of lighten everything back up and use it as a just as a guide. And that's just kind of what I use it for. It's kind of what I use the pencil sketch for these ink drawings. Just a guide. Guess I could zoom this in a little bit for you folks. Try to get this. I don't want to put too much detail down at the bottom because I'm going to have those grasses covering it up. So I want to look like the grasses are kind of covering it up, you know. And you can always add more ink. You can't really take it away once you put it down, you know. That's the problem. Got a nice shadow there, rounding the form. Nice shadow here as well. I should really look at that other elephant drawing. I feel like my drawings now are getting much more sketchier looking. You know, looking at this one, it's much more refined in a way. Or at least like the lines aren't as sketchy, which either way it still works, but this is a good, it's cool when you can look back at some of your old work and use that as kind of inspiration or as a reference, because I mean that's it's cool when you can get inspired by your own stuff that you've already created, you know. This side doesn't really matter. Just a little line there. It's going to be in shadow anyway. Have you ever tried doodle art? I was just thinking of, you know what, I just mentioned that like last week. I was thinking of getting a sketchbook that's just for stuff off the top of my head. And like doing doodling and stuff just to see what I could come up with and what comes out of my head. I was literally just thinking about that last week or the week before. So it's probably a cool idea to try, and maybe document some of those videos and just see what happens. Because I really haven't tried that before. So I'd be curious to see what kind of lines and shapes and patterns and all kinds of things that would be interesting to see. I don't know if you guys would be interested in seeing any of that kind of stuff. But if you would, then that's cool. Then maybe we could do some of that once I get a little experience with it. But I don't know if anybody would be interested in seeing me just doodling or not. What do you guys think? Like stuff out of thin air, stuff out of imagination. You know, I'm not saying I'd be that really creative in the beginning. Obviously, it'd take some time. I'd probably start out very geometrical, you know, and stuff like that. But I don't know, we could see what happens. What's going on, Brickatech fan? Everybody's doing good, I think. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Okay, cool. It seems like you guys would be interested in seeing me doodle a bit or something. I do have some brush pens. Somebody asked about brush pens earlier. I didn't answer it. I do use them from time to time, but not very much anymore. But I do have a few of them. But I haven't used them frequently. Yet. Or I don't really use them frequently. Only when the situation kind of calls for it, I guess you could say. So I think I got most of the outline here. I'm starting to get into a little bit more of the texturing effects and shading, because I think I got most of So there's a key shadow here, right here on the trunk from the tusk, and it melts into this other shadow. So that's pretty cool. I want to make sure I add that in there. Just do it right now. Right there. So that kind of determines the angle of the light. There isn't much any other shadows on this elephant that really does that. So for me, that small little shadow is pretty cool. So I'm just trying to suggest some of these textures and textural lines and stuff. You know, when you see it from far away, it'll make more sense when it's zoomed out and stuff. I think this pen's almost done. It's kind of getting a little fuzzy when I'm trying to shade. It's not drawing as well. The toned paper, it just means that the paper is, it's not white. So I can use white ink on this. That's all the toned paper is for. I can get values very quickly without having to shade as much. So So toned paper just means exactly what it says. It's toned. It's toned a certain color, a certain tone. You know, don't complicate it. There's nothing more to it. So I'm going to try to do like an overall shadow tone first. And then areas where it needs to be a bit darker, I'll go and add more shading. But I think for now I should just stick with like overall. We'll do an overall tone. And then I can build up from there. Still put in some of these textural form lines. So, zoom back out. Now we're getting a little bit of form, a little bit of light and shadow there going on. Still have a lot more shadowing to do, of course. And maybe fixing up some of the line work, you know, making it a little bit thicker in certain places, a little bit more dynamic. But other than that, it's looking pretty good so far. Pretty happy with this one at this point in time. So like I said, just trying to get like a main shadow value in everywhere where there's shadow. And then I'll go back wherever it needs to be darker. I can just add more lines, more hatching. And this time I'm mostly sticking with a vertical pattern. So it's kind of what I do. I've been doing it for many drawings, and I kind of like the effect. I kind of like the effect of having the shadows be flat and more vertical like this. It's just something I do. I don't know why. It just looks nice to me. There's actually a little bit of shadowing underneath this tusk as well. Same thing on this side. Just a little bit of shadowing. Building up a little more form there on the tusks. All right. Keep going. Try to get this shadow in here pretty quickly. Let's start with this side, I guess, now. There's a little bit of shadow over here. Might as well get that in quickly. That'll help pop that tusk out as well. Furby Gray says, you know how the end of the line has a thick ink? Oh boy, I don't really know how to say it. No, I know you're talking about how there's like a thicker thing at the end. I kind of just let it happen because the more you do it, like see like down here, it kind of gets not uniform as much. But if you do it everywhere, it kind of becomes more harmonious in a way. I mean, I try to avoid it if I can. I try to make it as much uniform as I can, but it kind of gives off an interesting effect. Anyway, when you just see the whole thing by itself, you know, it becomes a shadow, you know. So, thank you for the Furby Grace. Thank you for the donation. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure what currency that is, but it amounts to, YouTube says it amounts to about $5.10, so I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Greatly appreciate it. I hope I answered your question as well there about the inking. You know, I kind of just let it happen. But do I enjoy it? Not that much. You know, I do try to avoid it if I can. You know, in this other elephant photo I have here, you know, I went a little bit darker, but you can still see there is some areas where it kind of clumps up and stuff. But to me, it doesn't really kill the whole thing. You know, it still makes it fine, you know, and there's areas in here I can go in a little bit more, like in between some of them, and fix it up. Some areas still need to be a bit darker. So I'll make those areas darker, and that can help it as well. So to me, it can be distracting sometimes, basically, but I try not to let it bother me. I kind of just. So now I'm kind of going back in and darkening up some areas that I feel maybe need to be a little bit darker. And that'll just help give the idea of reflected light and shadow. It just makes things look a little bit deeper where they need to. Gives it a little bit more form. But yeah, greatly appreciate the donation. Yeah, I'm gonna add the white pin soon on the tusk, and I think it'll really pop the tusk out. It's gonna be pretty nice. I can always add a little bit more texture here on the face, but I don't want to get too carried away with that. But maybe just a little bit more of that will be helpful. Just a little bit more shadowing adding like a core shadow on this shadowing is going to be helpful. More shadowing around the eye and the head here. The ear over here is a bit darker. So it's just a few little things, and then making some of the lines a bit more thicker, dynamic where they need to be, just to give it a little more interest in certain areas. Draw your eye around the drawing. And there's a lot of texture on this ear as well, so we can try to add some of that in there. Okay, 40 minutes in, I think we're doing pretty well. It's going pretty well. I hope I didn't miss any questions here. The chat goes a lot quicker now that there's more people every day watching this. Just do it. Just when you email me the art, you can do it in a regular email because you have to attach a photo. I don't know on my website. I don't know if you can attach a photo on the contact form or not. But just for anybody that's watching that's new, tomorrow I'm doing a critique. It's going to be a critique stream, so you can send an email to info@shaverfineart.com, attach one piece of art, photo of a piece of art, and yeah, I'll be critiquing it tomorrow on stream, live critique, Friday night critique. So pretty cool. Should be a lot of fun, hopefully. Hopefully I don't get too many submissions. I want to be able to spend a little bit of time on each one, but we'll see what happens. I already got a few so far, so if you haven't sent one in, please send it in tomorrow. Also, just in general, be sure to check out my website, shaverfineart.com. Got some drawings and paintings over there for sale, and just stuff to check out. I got some blog posts and stuff like that. Also, I have a support page where you can donate to me through PayPal, Venmo. I have some t-shirts available and a Patreon page. And also have a Bandcamp page where I make some instrumentals in my free time for my YouTube channel, background music and stuff like that. You can check that kind of stuff out, all kinds of different music, piano, hip-hop beats, all kinds of stuff that I have made. It looks like the elephant's tail is actually sticking out right here, so I might just add that in. I don't know if that does anything, but there's a little hairy tail there. Wow, thank you, Shelly, for the $6.99 Canadian, and greatly appreciate that. I think it's Canadian. I apologize if not, but $6.99. I greatly appreciate that very much. Thanks for the donation. Once again, you guys are awesome supporting the stream tonight. Wait till I add the white pin, man. That's when this thing's going to come alive, I hope. A little bit. And there's not going to be much white, just on the tusks and a little bit of grass. And we'll be, this thing will be looking really good. All right, looks like we just got a submission. Thank you for sending that. Cool. So yeah, in the subject, if you want to put like for live stream 110 or critique 110, that's what the episode number is going to be. But it doesn't matter. I'll know what it's for as long as you say it's for a critique. Cool. So looking forward to that. Getting some more submissions. Okay, where else is it a bit darker? Where else? What am I missing here? Looks like right under here where the ear is. And here. So what I'm doing right now is just adding subtlety to these shadows, you know. You can see it's just rounding it a bit more. I'm creating a core shadow, which by putting in this shadow here that's kind of closer to the light, it creates this core shadow, which the rest becomes reflected light. And that's what kind of gives it the appearance of it being rounded, and there's more light bouncing around from the ground and the sky, things like that. So we'll add a little bit more texture here. But I'm gonna jump to this white pen soon because I'm getting a little itchy, man. I want to get this white pen in there. It's gonna look cool, I think. But we can start putting in some of the grass maybe. So you can see just by making a few lines like this really quickly, just putting in a few in different directions and stuff, I mean, you can get natural looking grass pretty quickly. You know, wild type of grass looks very natural. You can add a little bit more texture. Some things are growing at the tips of them, some of the grass, or little bugs flying around, or just any kind of thing, little flowers. All kinds of different stuff happening. So the way the angle of this light, obviously there's gonna be some shadowing in the grass maybe over here a bit more. Might just be a bit darker. So I'm gonna try to make that appear over here, just adding more lines, more grass. So it's gonna look darker on this side next to this elephant. But anyway, I don't want to get too carried away. I think that looks good. Looks pretty good. Yeah, that really grounds it, you know, really grounds it in the space, you know, it gives it an environment just by adding a little bit of grass, you know, a little bit of lines here. So here's the moment of truth, folks. Hopefully we can get this pen to work. White pens always give me a little bit of trouble sometimes, but this is the moment of truth. What if nothing says 100 or 110? Oh, it's no big deal. As long as you have critique in there, I'll know what it's about. And I already got your email anyway, so don't worry. I was just saying, for anybody sending it in, you know, it just makes it easier for me to keep track of. But it's not a big deal. As long as you say critique in there, then I know what it's for the next critique. So don't worry. Yeah, please don't resend anything or anything like that. I got all the emails. So boom, already that little bit of white created a whole nother value. So it's going to give context to the color of this elephant. It's going to give context to the shadows, the light, everything. So now that I'm just putting highlights down, right? It just creates context to everything. That's what I'm looking to create here. Just give everything a little bit of context. Thanks, JSA Drawing. Yeah, it's crazy how what, 51 minutes ago we had a blank sheet of paper. I mean, that's a good point. That's a really good point, you know. We start out with a blank sheet of paper, and now we have this. Just 51 minutes ago. So it's amazing what you can do in just a short amount of time. If you practice every day and just, you know, sit down, take your time, have some fun, you can actually get a lot done. I'm going to try to use this jelly roll here. There's just a little bit of reflected light back here. I want to try to add that subtly. See that little bit of white there? So that's kind of cool. Maybe under here as well. The reason I use this jelly roll is it's not as bright as this other pen that I use. So it works really well for little bits of light that I don't need super bright. So just by adding some white grass down here, we'll give you the effect that this is all in sunlight, like it's some light shining down onto the grass. And we're given the idea that the grass is much lighter than the elephant, even though it may not really be in real life there, but there is some grass that is pretty bright, so this could be one of those. Just not in this particular photo, but I don't really care about the photo. At this point, I'm just kind of trying to ask myself, what does the drawing need? You know, what's gonna make this thing look nice, look better? And I think that is what it needs. May have went overboard there with some of the white grass, but what I can do now, I'll just add a little bit of black grass in front of some of the white ones. And it'll just give, you know, I don't want to kill all the white I just put down, but it just gives a little bit more depth, like there's a bunch of overlapping. It's a very subtle thing. All right, glad you guys are sending in some submissions here for the critique tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I think it will be. You guys make it a good one. So like I said, I'm just trying to add a little more darks on this side, just to give the illusion of some kind of shadow maybe. So there we go. That gives a little more of the idea of a shadow back there, down there. And then now what I can do, we'll add just a little bit of white in front of that, drawing up from the bottom. And that'll create a little more depth into this whole thing. You know, the shadow doesn't mean to be super visible. There we go. This looks a little more realistic, but do you have any pets? I don't know why I'm asking. I don't know why you're asking either. I do have one cat. She is 15 and a half now. You don't have to go to my site. If you just go to your email and type in my email address, info@schaeferfineart.com, and send me an email, attach a photo of one of your art. That's all you have to do. You don't have to go to my website. You just go email info@schaeferfineart.com. That's all you have to do. So I hope that clears it up. Amanda is always the mod. She's the only mod I have. Yeah, JSA drawing. I know what you're saying, like a little highlights over the wrinkles, but it's going to be too much, I think. It's going to be too much if I did that. You know, if I could try it with like the jelly roll or something, but I'm really afraid to try that because it's just going to be, you know, the lightest spot I see is like up here. Let's see if this looks good if I just add like a little bit of faded white here. You know, is it too much? Maybe not. Maybe I can try a little bit of this since this pen is almost gone, so it's kind of good. You know, I could just put a little bit of that here and there, but I don't want to overdo it because it's very easy for me to overdo. Because once you, with the highlights, you know, it's like, oh, it starts looking good, so you want to just put so much of it down. But usually less is more, you know what I mean? There's a reason that's a saying, less is more, because that's usually what it is. So I'll just try to be very sparingly here with some of this. But maybe that helps a little bit. Just give a little more interest, like you said, to some of the wrinkles, some of the texture. Luckily this jelly roll is almost out of ink and it's just not as bright anymore, especially compared to this Uniball pen that I have. So it's nice for this kind of thing where you can add just another value of lights in there that aren't very distracting. But even that might be too much, you know, what I've already done might be too much. So I think we'll just stop there probably. Like I said, don't want to add too much of that. Maybe a little bit here on this ear just to give more. But Yeah, this might be a little too much there. And luckily this white pen isn't very permanent, so if I feel like I add too much, I can probably get it off with an eraser. Try to tone some of it back. Possibly. But anyway, yeah, this one, I think that's what it needed. A little bit like that. You know, overall I could just still go darker with the whole shadows, but you know, I think it's pretty nice. You know, I think maybe this leg could be a little bit darker. When I'm looking at it and squinting at the photo, it's just a little bit darker, so I could just go over this a little bit just to unify. I think it needs just a little more unity here. Less contrast. Well, really like more contrast for the whole thing, but less contrast between the areas of shadow. Like I need to just unify this whole block of shadowing. That's what I'm talking about, trying to convey. So, yeah, I think even that helped it. I think that little bit there helped kind of unify everything a bit more. But I think I'm almost done here, folks. As you guys can clearly see, I think you know, not really much more I can do to this thing to add to this thing. It's just kind of unifying some of the shadows, darkening up other areas maybe here and there. But is it as good as the other elephant drawing? I don't know. There's definitely different kinds. I'm definitely different with the way that I do hatching and lines and stuff. My other elephant drawing is very, you know, I think I was using a different size pen for the other elephant drawing too. I think I was using an 03 and this one is an 05 pen. So the lines are a bit thicker. But it's not a bad thing. It's just difference. So I'm going to do a little bit of hatching here just to transition from the light to the shadow on these textured areas. But like I said, folks, this is getting close. We're getting pretty close. And I'm pretty happy with the way this one came out, luckily. And we did it in a good amount of time. Hour and 4 minutes. I mean, that's not bad at all for something like this. Looks like there's a little bit of shadowing here around this tusk. Might be a little too harsh there, but oh well. Glad to hear Addie loves it. Hello, Addie. How's it going? Furby asks, how come some people have palettes beside their name? Because it's like a badge because they became a member on my channel. So if you look under the video, there's like a join button next to the subscribe button. And they become a member of my channel for like, I think it's $1.99 a month or $2.99 a month or something like that. But yeah. Something like that. But yeah, I think this is pretty good. We can compare it to the other elephant. This one's a little bit larger, as you can tell, a little bit more. There was a little bit more room to have free space, and I was using a smaller pen, so I got a little bit more subtle with the lines and everything. This one's a bit more, not as subtle, more textured, but it's not bad. I think they're both good in their own ways. It's pretty cool, I think. So yeah, I have tried the Copic markers, or I've tried the, I have like the Prismacolor alcohol markers that are like Copic ones, but they're not my favorite thing to use. I've used them sometimes on some of the streams. I can show you guys, let's see. Some of these I did use some markers. Let me see, try to find one that came out well. Okay. No. It's been a while since I've used them, but oh, the one I'm trying to find I sold. I forgot. I did it on a polar bear drawing, and I forgot I sold that drawing. But this one I used like a blue marker for the background. So yeah, I have used them in the past, but I don't know that I'm the best at using them. So, but anyway. And they kind of bleed through the paper, so I'm not a big fan of using them really. What has been one of your favorite pieces? Lane asks, what has been one of your favorite pieces that you have done recently? Oh, that's a good question. Probably some of the paintings I've done. Actually, I'll show you real quick. Yeah, a lot of paintings. Yeah, I think mostly a lot of the paintings from last week, like this one was one of my favorites. This door painting is one of my favorites. And then the painting I did last week of this forest, this one was one of my favorites. So I think all these paintings were my favorites. I don't know about any recent drawings. I can't remember what I drew recently. We can take a quick look. Let's see. Yeah, not the best, not my favorite. That's pretty cool. I like the architecture I did. But I think the elephant today was more of my favorite. This is pretty nice, polar bear. Yeah, that's probably some of my favorite stuff, just the paintings I've done. And the painting from yesterday, of course, came out really well. I'll show you guys the painting from yesterday too. So this was the painting from yesterday. I think it came out really well. I love the texture, I love the colors, the light. It was very challenging, all the darks and everything with watercolor. It's very hard to get those kind of darks. It's warmer in person. I don't know why it looks so cool on the webcam here, but yeah. So that's probably some of my favorite stuff that I recently did. Just the stuff you guys have seen the last week or two. Thanks, JSA Drawing. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like the tiger drawing. That one's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to paint like more architecture, kind of like the pen drawing I did. It'd be cool to paint some of that stuff. So maybe next week or sometime in the future, some of these pen drawings I did, we can do watercolors of them as well, like the architecture and some of the other things. The polar bear, I want to paint the polar bear as well. So yeah, probably some stuff like that. But anyway, thank you all you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you for the donations from everybody that donated. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for everything. Very, very greatly appreciated. One last time, I'll just tell you, you can check out my website. I got more art on there for sale. Paintings, like paintings you just saw are for sale. The drawings you just saw are for sale. Everything's for sale up there on my website. And I also have a support page where you can donate to me, stuff like that. You can definitely check that out. Also, be sure tomorrow, I'm doing a critique. You could send in a piece of your art, info@schaeferfineart.com. Send me an email. I do critiques every 10 live streams. Every live stream ending in 0 is going to be a critique live stream, critique of your work. So, yeah. I'm going to get off here and get something to eat. Hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow for the critique. So, yeah, peace.